when you're locked in the house and there's nothing to do, come to Jack's bedroom where he'll entertain you. It's Jack's night in. It's Jack's night in. It's Jack's night in.
Five bad boys with the power to rock you, blowing your mind what you gotta get into. Five, what you waiting for? Give it a 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, let's do it! Yes, welcome to the show. A song there from the band Five. A band Five which statistically has more abs than me. Yeah, that gag is very good if you know that there's a member of the group called Abs. Anyway, welcome. Yes, episode 5. This is the penultimate show. It's the last one before the last one. And number 5, this show's going to be better than anything you see on Channel 5. Although, that's not really saying much, is it? Have you been up to much this week? That's a no then. Fantastic. Well, I'll tell you who has been up to much this week. It's the Queen. It was her birthday this week. And did you get her anything? No, me neither. I'll tell you who did get her something though. Prince Charles. Because he just wants to be king, doesn't he? Happy birthday, mummy. No, I haven't got it anymore. Now I'm the king. It was St. George's Day this week, and now St. George's Day is the only day of the year where you're allowed to hold up an England flag and not look like a member of the EDL. It's the only day it's allowed. The other thing we had was that One World Together at Home concert. Wasn't that nice? Us all sat in our shitty houses, watching all those amazing celebrities in their big mansions. Oh yeah, really felt together. I did, yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing we all did feel togetherness on was that Elton John bit. We were all watching it like, is this really going on? Just Elton John, like, blah, 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 blah. It sounded awful, it sounded weird, but what it did sound like, it sounds like the morning after I've had a curry. That's what it sounds like in the nether regions. Terrible. I did find it a bit terrible, that concert, because it was all the amazing best musicians in the world. I didn't want that. I wanted the one-hit wonders. Let's go live to the cheeky girls in their one-bedroom flat in Dorset, see what they're up to during this crisis. Oh, let's cut to Chico running around the streets asking people what time it is. Tell you what time it is, Chico. It's time for you to get indoors. We've just been informed as well that we've got 3 weeks extra lockdown. 3 weeks. Well, 3 weeks, 4 weeks even. 3 weeks. But 3 weeks. Now, what that means is we're going to carry on drinking at home. It means we've got more excuses to drink at home. Now, the way I've come to this now is it's just a big pre-drinking party. If we just say we're all pre-drinking, then it's going to feel great, because at the end of it, we're pre-drinking for the best night out we've ever had. Now, pre-drinking, or prinks, is what it's called if you're an idiot. Pre-drinking is what people do before they drink. Now, what do they do before they drink? They drink. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, because pre means before. Like, on a night out, my friends, they used to call me a prima donna. Now, that used to offend me, but now I realise it's just before I get a kebab. Oh, kebab, I miss that as well. I'm tempted to just run in my local kebab shop, not for the kebab, because they've got those scissors, haven't they, that cut the kebab off. I think if I run in, try and get my hair cut for 5 minutes, it'll do a good job, won't it? I need it desperately. Anyway, enough of me talking shit. Let's have a look at what's coming up on the rest of today's episode. Now, showing you what's coming up, it's me doing a handstand, because I've been practicing handstands this week. Here we go. Coming up on today's episode, we've got all the usual features. It's Checking with Ed, In the Bath with Jack, the Game Show Games, very popular feature, that one. We've also got special guest this week, comedy magician John Archer. You might have seen him on Britain's Got Talent and many other magic TV shows. We've also got Cali Smallman, a fantastic musical comedian. All that to look forward to in today's episode. This handstand is really hard to do. Back to Jack in the bedroom. Don't think they'll notice that I was just dangling off the side of my bed, will they? Yeah. Lots of great things coming up on today's episode. Sorry, I was a bit distracted there, just looking at the Crankies. Now, I'm wondering what they're up to during this lockdown. I bet they're having a massive orgy in their Scottish home. Now, if you'd have asked me at the start of this lockdown if I'd get involved in that orgy, I'd have said no. But 6 weeks into this lockdown, I'd heavily consider it. But anyway, let's start the show. And as always, we start with my favourite feature, In the Bath with Jack. And this week, you haven't disappointed with your questions. So here we go. It's In the Bath with Jack. Hello, welcome back to In the Bath with Jack, where you join me, Jack, in the bath. You should know this by now. It's called In the Bath with Jack. Obviously, I'm going to be sat in the bath. And we've got loads of questions this week, and the first question is a very good question, so here we go. Well, actually, I've not read it yet, so it might be a terrible question, but I'll read it. Jack, have you had a bath? Okay, that's quite a good question, but the answer isn't, because I've actually not had a bath. The only time I've got in this bath is to record these things. I've not had a proper bath in ages, or a shower, or cleaned myself, because the only time you ever wash in that is when you're going out to impress somebody. There's no need to do it. That's why I look like a shabby dog. If you could have a bath with anyone, who would it be? That's a good question now. If I could have a bath with anyone. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking, who you'd have a bath with? Is it a loved one? Is it a celebrity? I'm going for Ruth Langsford. Straight away, any day of the week. Me and Ruth Langsford in the bath. If anyone can sort that out, what a great season finale that will be. Jack, what happened to the puppet from episode 2? Good question. Basically, loads of people enjoyed the puppet and they wanted him in more episodes. And I was a bit jealous, so I cut him out. Right, okay. Jack, I really enjoyed having your dad in last week's episode. He enjoyed being in it. Why doesn't your dad have his own show, or can he be in more episodes? Right, come on, again. Why can't you just enjoy what I'm doing? Why do you have to get other people involved? Right, question number 6. Jack, what is your favourite film? Oh, interesting question. Finally, a proper question about me and what I like. About me and what I like. One of my favourite films is Jaws. Jaws, just one of the things that scares. Right, what's this? What's going on? Right, what are you doing here? What do you mean? What am I doing? Cover your mouth. What are you? Speak. What are you doing here? No, that's no. What are you doing here? Well, you should know because you've got your hand up. Right, okay. Well, what are you doing here? You said you like Jaws, so I've come to do an impression of Jaws. Oh yeah, fair enough. Anyway, Jaws isn't your favourite film. How do you know? Because Shawshank Redemption is your favourite film. Yeah, I know it is, but I didn't fancy filling the bath full of shit and crawling through it. It wouldn't have been as impressive, would it? To be fair, this isn't as impressive. Right, okay, so join me next week for next week's episode of In the Bath with Jack. You can't even do ventriloquism, alright. She is quite fit, I suppose. Oh, In the Bath with Jack there. Thanks for sending in your questions. Now it's time for that part of the show where we speak to my friend Ed. And as always, we have a long, complex chat about how he's doing, how I'm doing. It's always really lovely and we find out a lot of interesting things. So now it's time to check in with Ed! Alright, Ed, how are you doing? Fantastic. It's time for the big interview! Yes, it's the part of the show where I speak to one of my entertainment friends. And this week is none other than comedy magician John Archer. You might have seen John on Britain's Got Talent, Help My Supply Teacher His Magic, Undercover Magic on Sky, touring with Tim Vine, on his own tour, at a gig somewhere. You might have seen him anywhere. He's brilliant, John Archer. He's just a really funny guy. And this interview actually took over an hour and a half to record, and we couldn't obviously fit all of that into this show. I've had to cut it down to about 8 minutes. But you can see the rest of that interview on YouTube afterwards. It's really interesting, looking into his career, about how comedy has changed. I really would recommend it if you're a fan of comedy and magic. And he really is a brilliant comedy magician. If you looked up British comedy magician in the dictionary, his name will come up first. So let's meet Mr. John Archer.
Hello. I've actually looked up comedy magician in the English dictionary, and it doesn't mention any magicians.
Oh, is it not? Oh.
Yeah.
Have you got in touch with them?
In fact, you can look up comedy,
yeah,
and you can look up magician, but I don't think they've got an entry for comedy magician.
Well, that's the thing, John, because you're a really funny man, and why did you ruin that by adding magic to it?
That's a good question, isn't it? But do you know what? People have said to me, why don't you just do stand-up? The thing is, I've never just done stand-up, and I've never just done magic without comedy. When I started, I actually started in bands, playing guitar and singing, and it was just an excuse to try and be funny. But if I wasn't, nobody cared because I was actually meant to be singing and doing music. But magic was my hobby, so I started adding some tricks. And if you've sort of if you're funny in here, you can't just do a trick without being funny.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever really. I wouldn't enjoy just performing a trick, straight without any gags. So I sort of started doing comedy and magic together. I never started not doing magic with it, and I genuinely do love magic. I love the way it makes an audience feel, and also comedy and magic are incredibly similar in a lot of ways, because comedy is all about pulling the rug from under the audience's feet, and they think they know where you're going, and you go somewhere else. So there's that setup and punchline, and magic is exactly the same. You've got this setup where the audience think they know what should happen and what physically is possible, and then you surprise them with a punchline at the end of a trick. So magic and comedy, I think, work really well. The problem is, because they're similar, you've got to make sure that one doesn't step on the other, because you've got two setups happening. You've got comedy setups and you've got magic setups, and you've got two sets of punchlines happening. You've got magic punchlines and comedy punchlines. So it's a difficult thing to do. But I getting back to your question, you did ask a question, didn't you? Yeah. I love magic too much to not do it. So I don't really want to do straight comedy, if that, or straight comedy. What is that? But just comedy without tricks.
But before that, so you did Britain's Got Talent, you did Penn and Teller, you've done loads of TV, really, Magic Show on Sky, children's TV.
Quite, yeah, but none of them sort of, none of them sort of big enough profile. I mean, Penn and Teller's good, but it was a one-off. Britain's Got Talent's good, but there's so many people now doing Britain's Got Talent that if you have on your website not seen on Britain's Got Talent, you'd probably stand out these days. Lots of people are doing it, and you have a little period where you've got that exposure and people remember you, and then it's a bit like the king is dead, long live the king. Once the new series comes out, there's a whole new slew of people hitting the screens, doing their bit, and getting posted on YouTube and Twitter and everything else, and getting the little spots on Fern Britain and wherever else they get the spots, and suddenly they're the new thing. You get forgotten about, and then the next year comes around, and of course Britain's Got Talent, they have no interest in following you up or making you big afterwards. Particularly, it's all about that show and putting that out. So it's just constantly bringing new fodder to throw in front of the audience, and then forgetting about. So you've got to make the most of that. So that was quite small. The Penn and Teller was small. The kids show was great, but it was CBBC, and it's not really my audience. I mean, I loved doing the kids shows that we did. We did 3 series of that, Help My Supply Teacher's Magic thing, and I loved it. Really did enjoy it. It was great fun, great crew that I was working with, and the cast were great fun and everything else. But it's not Saturday night television in front of adults, which is really where I want to be and where I'm performing. So yeah, I mean, I've done lots of telly, but telly isn't the be all and end all. It's got to be the right telly at the right time in the right place. And also that there is less and less places for variety acts, even comedy acts now on telly. There aren't, unless a lot of comedy acts, if they want to get anywhere, end up going into sitcoms and doing comedy acting, because there's a bit more scope on TV for that. Or you get regular spots on the panel shows, the comedy panel shows, but then that tends to be a couple of big agencies, the Off the Curbs and Avalon that have all of those acts. So if you're not with them, you're probably not going to get thrown in. So there's all sorts of things that are in the mix that you've got no control of. But the secret is that, you've got to get to a point where none of that bothers you. And I'm not bothered about fame. I'm genuinely not. I'm not bothered about telly as such. I want to pay my bills, and I want to enjoy doing the gigs and hanging out with mates and friends, and so long as all of that can happen, then I'm successful business-wise as far as I'm concerned. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't refuse anything if it came up, but it's a young man's game, comedy at the moment. It is, you're in the right place, but won't be long before you're too old, fella. So get used to it. But it is a young, skinny jean sort of brigade that are creating all that, and yeah. So,
do you think variety is coming back though? Because I think in some sort of way, because would you say you've always wanted to be doing your own Paul Daniels-esque magic show on Saturday night TV? Is that something you've longed to do?
If I thought there was a scope for that back on telly, and if I thought, and if they offered me it, I would certainly do it. But it's not gonna get offered to me. I mean, if it's gonna get offered to it, it's gonna be offered to a comic who's in their 30s, I would think. But I think it's unlikely that an audience would go, or even a TV production company or broadcaster would go for that style of show again, of a studio-based magic show. It's gone much more now down the sort of David Blaine Dynamo route of, sort of, who's that ringing me? Can't answer them. I'll ignore them. And it's ITV. Oh, apparently they've got a full series for me. Take that back. I'm starting next Saturday.
It's time for the game show game. Yes, it's the part of the show where we play a random, nonsensical game show game. And this week we are playing Pasquale or Kylie, involving Joe Pasquale and Kylie Minogue. And to explain the rules of Pasquale or Kylie, please welcome the incomparable Susan Boyle. And that's just one side of me. I dreamed a dream of time gone by. Susan, come here. Life was worth living. I wish the love would never die. Oh, no. We didn't have this problem with Paul Potts. Get her out. Susan Boyle there. Just chuck her out the window or something. Susan Boyle there, not really explaining anything. So, anyone else want to explain it? Have we got anyone? Any musicians hanging about? So Tom Jones, that one. Yeah, I love him. Okay, please welcome Sir Tom Jones. It's not unusual. Thank you very much there, Sir Tom. Although you didn't really explain anything, did you? But and that clearly was Tom Jones from about 100 years ago. Anyway, I'll just explain the rules as usual. Anyone else about Elton John? What, he's in the garden? Keep him there. He's not going to make any sense at all, is he? Yeah, Susan been dealt with. Great. Okay. So, the game show game. This is Kylie or Pasquale. No, it's not. It's Pasquale or Kylie. Don't matter. Say it either way. Pasquale or Kylie. It's this game show that means, is it something said by the star whose songs get on your nerves, or the comedian Joe Pasquale? That's it. It's as simple as that. All it is it a fact about Kylie Minogue or a fact about Joe Pasquale? Pasquale or Kylie? Rhymes, done it. Just play the game.
Ben Peck. I am 23 years old and I'm from Hull.
Welcome to the show, Ben. Now, do you know a lot about Joe Pasquale and Kylie Minogue?
Not really, but I'm pretty sure I can give this a good go.
Yeah.
They can't have so much in common.
What are you doing in Hull at the moment? Anything exciting?
Not really. I'm just riding this whole coronavirus thing out and waiting for it all to casually blow over.
Yeah, because before all this, you would have never, in the middle of a day, took part in a game show about Joe Pasquale and Cali Minogue, would you?
No, probably not. I'd have been doing something far more interesting. But this will work. It'll be fun. It'll be
Far
good.
more interesting. This is the only interesting thing you're ever going to get. Friday nights at 7 o'clock. Anyway, before you annoy me, I hope you don't win. This is Pasquale or Kylie. These are your oh God, they disappear and appear. That's amazing. Well, there's the questions here and they're gone. So these are the questions I'm going to read out, and you have to tell me. You've got a minute to get as many of these facts right. Okay, as many of these facts right. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Your time starts now. Who had a live show called Everything I Have Ever Done and the First of Many Goodbye Tours?
Pasquale.
Correct. Voice of the Rat in Garfield 2?
Pasquale.
Correct. Who is oldest?
Cali.
Incorrect. Who performed at Glastonbury in 2019?
Kylie.
Correct. Who had their first TV appearance in 1986?
Pasquale.
Incorrect. Who sang I Could Be So Lucky, 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 I Could Be So Lucky in Love?
Kylie.
Correct. Who lived on the Australian jungle on TV?
Pasquale.
Correct. Right, here's a bit of a tough one, this. Who performed... Oh, actually, you've answered them all and we're out of time. I thought some of them were quite hard. Right, now we've had a minute. There we go. I didn't write enough questions, but right, it's all going... I didn't write enough questions.
Well, I think I won.
I thought you'd be terrible at that, but you got 5 out of 8, and you did really well.
I'll take that.
The game show game's there. Well done, Ben, for winning, and well done me for not putting enough effort in to not have enough questions to fill a minute. I had one job, 1 minute of questions about Pasquale and Kylie. That's all it took, and I couldn't even do that. But anyway, I have a music guest. What are they called? Cali Smallman is this week's music guest. She's a fantastic musician and comedian, and she'll be playing a song for us at the end of the show. So let's check out my interview with Cali Smallman.
Hey, I'm here. Well, I'm here. You're there.
Yeah, I'm there. Well, if you put the same background on as me, you'd be in the same room.
Oh, that would require effort, though.
Are you not doing much effort during this lockdown?
Absolutely none. I mean, this is about as dressed up as I've been so far. I wear pajamas. I've got like day pajamas that I wear all day, and then I change into my night pajamas and don't really wear makeup. I mean, I've brushed my hair. I've brushed it. I've straightened it and everything for you, Jack. So I was starting to look a bit like Tom Hanks in Castaway.
Huh?
And then I just thought you deserved better than that.
Thank you. Yeah, this show deserves a bit of respect. So I'm glad you've given it that.
Yeah, it's Jack's motherfucking night in. Highlight of my career.
Yeah, if this show doesn't make it, nothing's gonna. You have done quite a bit of TV though before, haven't you, Cali? Tell us bits. You've been on Rob.
When I was younger, I did. Before I started actually doing any material that would challenge anybody. No, I've done a few bits. I've done like some things on ITV, and I did. My favourite one was the Rob Brydon show. That was the thing that made me basically be able to be a professional comedian, because before I did that, I was an open spot, so I was just doing like free gigs. And luckily, the one of the commissioners who had commissioned Rob Brydon's show that season saw me at a crappy little gig above a pub in Camden, and the next day I was getting emails and texts from my friends going, "Talkback Thames are looking for you," and I was like, "What have I done?" So, but it turns out that she just really liked my comedy, even though I wasn't even a professional comedian. And then after I did the show, all the promoters were like, "Who's this girl? Why haven't we heard of her?" And it was like, because I am an open spot. Please let me come and do 20 really bad minutes for you. I think I'm good enough now that I've been on the telly, but I was really shit for ages. But now it was good for me because it threw me in the deep end, and I had to become good enough to do sort of professional comedy work, which is what I do now.
It is hard to make a living in comedy, and I think one of the things you've done to combat that is you've set up some gigs that are a bit different to normal gigs, the bring your own baby stuff. You were one of the pioneers, really, of this movement. Can you tell us a bit
Thank
about
you.
it?
Yes, yeah, I like to think of myself as a pioneer now that you've said it. So me and my friend, she'd had her baby, she'd stopped doing comedy, she had postnatal depression, she was feeling really, really shit. So we, over a drunken glass of wine, came up with Bring Your Own Baby. Well, I say she came up with it, I'll be honest. She came up with it, and she was like, you know comedians, you could book it, you could do it with me. And we started it just in a little function room above a pub near my house, and it sold out within like a week, like a 30 ticket little gig. So we were like, oh, let's see if we could put on another one. Anyway, so we've got I think we've got 20 something. I think it's 22 or 23 now.
You're still doing them online now, though, aren't you? During this,
We're doing a show called Lockdown Lasts for Parents every Thursday night at 8:30 on YouTube Live. And it's just it's called Lockdown Lasts for Parents.
I'm doing it in a couple of weeks, aren't I think.
You are now.
Yeah, there we go. That is how you get a booking, ladies and gentlemen.
That is genuinely a life. No, I would love you to do it.
Lovely, it's booked in.
There we go. Yeah, so it's just 3 comedians, one of which is always a parent, and I do what you're doing on this. I do the talking and the links and giving shout outs to people, like shout out to Jennifer in East Anglia. She's locked down with her 5-year-old and her 3-year-old and is going fucking mad. So that's what I do on it. But it's really nice. It's a really nice, fun vibe. People interact in the comments box, and it's always just like a lovely sort of snuggly, supportive like atmosphere. It's so different from lots of weekend comedy clubs. Everyone's just, there to support each other and sort of make a little community. It's really nice. So if you're interested in watching anybody, you can find it via Bring Your Own Baby on our Facebook page. There's an event on there, and it will give you all the details.
Can you tell us a bit about the song you're going to sing for us today?
Well, I'm going to sing a song about being in lockdown, I think, but I need to warn you, I haven't fully learned it, so there'll be a bit where I scroll down for the chords on my laptop, so I'll be singing like, and I'll just give a little...
Never seen you looking so lovely as you do tonight. Never seen you Cali Smallman there, and you can listen to Cali's song in just a few seconds, because this is the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining me for another week, but I do have some sad news. This is the 5th episode, so that means next week is the 6th episode, which means it's the last episode, the last one. I don't know what you're going to do with your Friday nights after that, but I'm sure you'll find something. So I'll see you next week for the last episode.
7 a.m. the usual morning lineup. Time to pitch in and make sure the kitchen's clean. Teach homeschool, drink wine, then shop online. But I need wine again, and by then it's like 7:15, and so I'll stay at home. Keep 2 meters from me. I have no toilet roll. I must drip dry my wee. I'll cook up frozen food, just tins of beans for me, and wonder when will this lockdown end. Then after lunch, it's a trip to the local Waitrose. Put on my mask, some latex gloves for me. Yoga, workout, check the symptoms, runny nose. What day is it? I feel like shit. I need some more wine, maybe. And then I'll walk outside, 'cause Boris says I can. I fucking hate the kids. Wish they could visit their nan. And then I'll wash and wash and wash and wash my hands. Stuck in the same place I've always been. And I'll keep wondering and wondering and wondering and wondering.